How's it going, guys? Toby here from Cricket District alongside the legendary Sir Vivian Richards and of course our brand new Caribbean cricket correspondent Nikhil. Firstly, I've got to ask about the golf. We've just seen you chipping and putting. Tell me a bit about your experience playing golf here and why you enjoy the sport so much.
Oh, ever since being in England, I think that's where I would have maybe got the insight. One of my best mates, Ian Botham, I guess, used to carry his clubs around everywhere. We lived together. The clubs used to be in the house, the garage, on a regular basis. So I used to be very curious about the fact why, this game that I felt at the time, which looked pretty boring to me. But I found out that at the end of the day, I felt it's no way that I could be involved with a game where the ball is not moving. And, I found out that it's not like that at all, because it's your personal thing. It's something within you. It's not that you may be competing against people, but the most important thing, you're trying to do justice to the course. And I appreciate stuff like that. And I'd like to believe that I'm a highly competitive person. And being of that particular nature, it's a great place to be because there's a whole lot of weekend warriors out here. There's a whole lot of Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroys on the Saturdays and Sunday. So whenever that opportunity comes along, that's our little thing, that's our masters for us to have some fun. And at the end of the day, which is the best hole on the course, the 19th.
We're here, of course, for the Cool Smooth T20. Tell me a bit about your involvement with Cool Smooth T20 and where you see this next generation of cricketers in the Caribbean moving forward.
Well, it's all part of the local product. And Cool Smooth, I may have been a friend for many years. And just judging from what I would have seen evidence of with his involvement just in the sporting fraternity, there isn't the sports that I think he's not involved with is the sports that's not invented. He has been of great help in terms of all sporting facilities in the region, schools, especially my school as well, the old Antigua Grammar School. Whenever there are things to deliver in terms of what you can do on a sporting side of the fence, I may have always been there. And as you can see what he's doing here with our local Cool and Smooth tournament, it's gathering traction in my opinion. We look at some of the Scottish players that come out. There are players also coming from the region. And this is how things are born. Nothing gets great from the beginning. There's a process, and we are in this particular process, and it looks good so far.
Sir Viv, just building on that in terms of Cool and Smooth's impact and development of West Indies cricket holistically, seeing it from your vantage point, from days where you guys were so dominant, looking at current West Indies cricket now, could you tell us one thing that you think sort of is missing the most, or one thing that could take the West Indies closer to that dominance that you guys once met?
We've got to start digging deep, in my opinion, for some of the values that would have made West Indies cricket, to begin with, become a legacy. I'm a firm believer that if you want to represent the Windies, and we can look at, because we represent the West Indies, so I'm looking at that in that particular context, there's a journey one's got to fulfill. There's a start, knowing what you're representing. These are some of the stuff. It isn't just about hitting a cricket ball on a bat and running up as ball as fast as you can. Why am I here? I've always felt that, and I can give evidence for myself, that there are people who would have inspired me wanting to play for West Indies cricket. The players in the past, the Sir Larry Constantine, the Wes Halls, the Sir Gary Sobers. These are the people that made me wanting to play because they made us proud. And I wanted to carry in that particular footstep. I wanted also to believe that I'm there as part of the relay team. If the baton is passed, I'm going to hold it and make sure that I take it to the very end. And I'm not sure whether the modern day individual thinks along that line. Why am I here? And if we think along that line where we have a good belief of our history and why we are here and why the West Indies team were successful then, that to me is a platform in order for kids, the young individuals, for them to have an understanding why they should want to play. It shouldn't be just exactly about the money, because the money does play a huge part, but at the end of the day, there's a love and a passion and why you're representing your nation.
And building on that legacy, I mean, it could be argued that you're one of the not only best West Indies captains, but best cricket captains ever that we've seen. What was key for you to get the best out of so many different personalities and some of the best players the game has ever seen?
Well, I think at that time we thought that we had a good unit. We look at presently now, and we look at the fitness side of things, the individuals who are doing their thing and are successful. We started basically because of Curry Packer, that whole fitness saga. I can remember we took Dennis Wade also, who was with the West Indies team then, to Somerset, and we had success. So it goes to show you that when you are fit and you have certain individuals in your environment, it creates a family. And we had a family, and the guys in the team had an understanding what they're capable of. And when you have knowledgeable individuals who had a passion, because we've identified at that particular time that we had a team that could go and do justice for the things we are trying to achieve, and they did. And it was a pleasure for me. When I became captain, the knowledge that we had in the team, it was of great help to me. You know, I could not ask for anything better. You had a Malcolm Marshall, one of the most knowledgeable individuals that you can find anywhere on earth. You know, could suss a batsman out in seconds. You know, when you have that sort of knowledge, it does help any captaincy, and I was pretty fortunate and privileged to have led these guys.
So Viv, you come up against some incredible competitors in your time. I would love to know who are the best players that you have played with.
Man, that's an unfair question. Very unfair.
You can pick three.
Because to be fair, you know, it's there's so many guys out there that that you felt that you'd go to battle with. And first of all, I would say because I had my inspiration from Andy Roberts. I remember when Andy Roberts first got picked to play for the West Indies. I think he had us to fill in for Keith Boyce, who got injured, or either Keith Boyce or Van Ben Holder in Barbados. And Andy came that same night to where I was at and said, Viv, I've been called up to go to Barbados. And I can remember saying to myself, wow, he's the first, I'm going to be the second. And that was the inspiration, you know, that you need. So there's a whole lot of individuals. Andy Roberts I'd put in that category as one of the knowledgeable individuals. Deadly, Malcolm Marshall, two, I just mentioned two, right? I don't think I have to go too far, three. But these two individuals were individuals that I found to be very special. And an individual who I found to be very good as well was a David Murray. We lost him just recently. David was one of the most conscious individuals about the game in itself. Highly knowledgeable. I can remember when we first toured Australia, he would identify things with my batting. And we sort of formed a camaraderie because of that. So I'll put him up there in a sense that he knew exactly my game, what I could do and what I couldn't do, and when I was doing it on the wrong side of the fence, you know. So that knowledge, you know, to me, David was one of the best. Highly, wasn't in no captaincy position, vice captaincy position, but just highly knowledgeable guy.
A legendary player you did play alongside, of course, is Ian
Yeah.
Botham. Tell me a bit about your relationship with him, and also a bit about your time at Somerset, if you remember it fondly.
Whoa, we had a great time. I keep saying that if the walls could talk, you know, well, you'll have some. You're not going to hear it from me, I guess, neither from him, but as I guess maybe modern day technology, you may hear sometimes in the near future. But Ian was a good guy, nice guy. Up to this day, we still very much remain friends. I remember when I first met him, it was for the Somerset Under 25s team. We were playing against Glamorgan for the club in Lansdowne or Bath at the time, the club I was playing for. And Ian, this is the first time I'm meeting this guy. He came over and introduced himself. Wow, you know what I mean? It's just really outgoing guy. And I remember going into the match, Ian scored 100. He was supposed to be this all-rounder. I went out and got out first ball duck. And when we went to bowl now, I ended up getting 5 for 25. You know, so I can remember at the end of the day, we went into the dressing room and he came over and he said, you're the guy who was supposed to come and do the batting. Well, I'm going to do the batting and you do the bowling, you know. And we sort of hit it off and then, you know, and we spent some great times together, some of the best times ever. Yes, very, very close. Ebony and Ivory are the best of friends.
So Viv, on your overall playing style, I think you revolutionized and you were way ahead of your time in terms of the aggressive approach, which we see so often in the game today. Why did you actually go out with that sort of attacking intent at a time when no one else was doing it?
No, instinctive. You know, I can remember when growing up in my area, ovals, there one side where if you hit the ball over the fence, you'll get your sixth and out. And I can remember on the longer side of the fence, so I had us to keep it down. The guy just keep bowling to your legs. People wanted to know. That's one of my favorite shots, maybe flicking the ball off middle stump and stuff like that. Some used to say hitting across the line. But I never looked at it in that particular fashion. I've always looked at it as a batsman, it's all about you're an artist. I remember when I first went to England, my coach had someone said, in the V, man. And we had contrasting views, and I guess I was a little bit strong-headed at the time. But I believe that you got to hit gaps. It isn't about hitting the fields, man. That's boring. You know, you want to go, make sure you go to the left, to the right. And in order to do that, sometimes you make a little room for yourself, go over extra cover. I've always, as a little boy, wanted to hit the ball. And it didn't worry me or not whether I was in a test match or whatever. Last ball before lunch, you know, some guys are looking to tuck it here and go in and have lunch and come back out. I may not come back out, you know, so why not get it done now, you know? Do it now. And these are the things. I was always very aggressive. I felt doing just the normal things at times would be boring. So you move away and, yeah, it's, if you want people to come and if you want to put bums on seats, man, you can't be hitting the ball straight to hitting fieldsmen every time, man. Those folks, you won't get any bums on seats. You know, so it's about hitting gaps. It is an art, in my opinion, an artist. So that's it. So sometimes you may get a ball in middle stump. It looks like if you miss, that's it, you know. But he who dares win. You know, this is if you don't take chances, you'll never know.
It sounds like a very similar philosophy to Brendan McCullum right now as England coach.
I've always liked the way he plays. I like the way he plays. That's the way. And I think, if I can remember clearly, I think he did an interview once and he said one of his plays he enjoyed watching over the years would have been VIV, you know. And I could understand why, because just the way in which he plays, he's a daredevil. And you can see it in the England results at present, you know. He who dares win, and this is what it's all about. Exciting cricket. Who said test match cricket is dead? You know?
So one thing that goes around the Caribbean, and I've always wanted to ask you, many people have this debate about who's the best West Indian cricketer, who's the best batsman, is it VIV, is it Lara, two phenomenal, sensational players. What would be your sort of answer to that debate? Do you think they're even comparable? You and
listen,
Brian
man. What I think people got to understand that we have different styles. There are different styles, and Brian did his thing. Brian, I'm proud to say that I played in the team that Brian Lara would have played, because to me, I look from the other side of the fence. To me, I see no better. You know, in terms of finding gaps and pure batsmanship. You know, Brian Lara would come to mind every time. I first take Brian Lara, but I have other guys that I admire. I look at the Sachins and the Virat Kohli. But to know that we had a Brian Lara in the region, an artist, in my opinion. So when I spoke earlier about hitting gaps, Brian, there's no player, in my opinion, who hit gaps better than a Brian Lara. Just pure class. And I'm not into the comparison factor. I just think I'm not going to compare Brian with anyone.
Too great.
You know, I just think that now Brian is up there big time, and I'm privileged to know that that he's from our region, and that's all I can say. You know, he's special. Brian Lara, very, very special. And as a West Indian, I'm proud to have passed through that same sort of avenue which he once went.
A venue where both yourself and Brian Lara had immense success is, of course, the ARG. Now, I know you've got Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. You must be very proud of that, and it is a spectacular venue. But is there part of you that would love to see cricket return to that iconic stadium?
It's a vibrant place, but sometimes places at times do have their purpose. But I'm a little bit disappointed with what I see now in terms of the things that would have taken place there. If I remember correctly, West Indies scored the highest second innings total to win a test match, you know, and I was proud to say that. I was chairman of the selectors then. You know, I had people like Gordon Greenwich and Joy Carew on my panel, you know. The ARG would have seen Brian Lara, you know. I would have just loved to see it being preserved a little bit more, because it is an iconic place. The Gravies and all the characters, you know, who would have passed through that particular fraternity have done it proud, in my opinion. You know.
Fantastic. A final question from me, if that's okay. I just want to talk to you a bit about T20 cricket and the way it's revolutionising the game around the world. Obviously, it's giving players lots more opportunities, but there are pros and cons to the expansion of T20 cricket. So I want to see from you what you think the future of Test cricket holds, whether it will continue to decline or whether you can see it sustaining itself.
I hope it stays, because just what England would have achieved recently, that to me says that that's the true format of the game. No one will ever knock T20. I think it's an exciting program. I think it's great for the game in a sense. But then I have an issue with the fact that individuals just wanted to come and play T20 who can hardly spell the game of cricket. You know? I think there must be a process. If we take maybe a leaf out of college football, college basketball in America, you go through that process, and then there is the so-called recruiting process. If you're good enough, then you can go pro. I just believe that guys should have an understanding what Test match cricket is all about. And then to me, after you would have gone through that program, T20, to me, have some professional fun. Wow, I would love that. After I would have done this, it's like summer break, man. You know, summer break. Let's go and have some fun, because I would have accomplished what the big stuff over here, which is the real test of the game. And let's not forget that, you know, it's the real test. And then the T20, wow. Because you have now the license to go and straight around with the bat, yeah? Man, that's how I look at it. You know, and I'm just hoping that we find a way where we can preserve this cricket, which makes so much sense in terms of the development. You know? Maybe I don't want to go too far in terms of making comparisons. When we look at maybe a Just Butler, he's the king where white ball is concerned. What's his stats like with the red ball? Rohit Sharma suffered earlier, but now he's come to grips with the fact that after you accomplish with the red ball, in my opinion, the white ball, which doesn't move as much, sometimes you can close your eyes and go, man.
Would you have loved to play T20 cricket?
That's what I just said. It's in terms of after what you've done your chores.
Yeah. So you would have played in an IPL, a CPL?
Oh, man.
With a modern bat as well?
I would have loved that. I think VIV would have been too powerful with the bats today. Just having some fun there, really.
Yeah.
But the bats today are good, and take into mind as well. The boundary is a 65-yard boundary. Wow, not bad.
So, my final question, man. Thank you so much again for doing this. I think there's so many millions of young West Indian children that look up to us, Vivian Richards, look up to Brian Lara. But of course, at the end of the day, only 11 men can go on that field and represent the West Indies. What would be your advice to all those youngsters in the region that are striving and have dreams, have aspirations, but could be almost at the point of giving up?
Keep going. Keep going. Because even though we spoke of test match cricket, and if ever that they go into the zone where T20 cricket is going to take over in a big way, which I think it's good to have T20, to let these individuals know that there's so many tournaments that's played around the world, that's attractive tournaments, that cricket before, you would find at times, where am I going to make a living, decent living? It's almost in every cricketing playing country today. You have T20 tournaments going around on a regular basis. So, and the earning power is great. So don't you give up. There's opportunities out there in order for you to make a decent living if you love the game enough. You look at the Chris Gales and all the guys who would have been in the big leagues. They can give evidence to that there's a huge future. Not just thinking along that line about the money-making factor, but knowing that you can go and do justice to the team you play for, the respect that you have around the individuals that you have, and this would help you to get in a better place for you to do the great things about earning. So keep your chin up, keep your chin up. Never say never. I was an individual who never ever said never. All things are possible. So keep it going. And always remember that the respect for the game is always important. And making sure that you appreciate and have a love for the game. When you love the game, then the earning power will be so much greater.
Fantastic, man. Perfect way to end. Thank you so much, Sir Viv.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Good
the
man.
time.
Okay, see you guys,
Thank you
man.
so much for your
Pleasure,
time.
man.
All the best.
All the best, man. Thank you guys, man.
See you on the golf course soon.
For sure.
If it stops raining.
Maybe we have a wet one today.